Alright, welcome everyone to this new video tutorial about Unreal. In this video we're going to do our last thing in our to-do list, that is player disconnect system. So that's really important, guys, because you want to be able to handle that. And it's going to be maybe a tough video. I'm not sure. That depends on how well I remember things actually. So what are we going to do here is to say, hey, when a player disconnects, check where was he? Do we need to destroy his session? Do we need to make him back to the main menu? What do we need to do? What is the host? If it was the host, we need to disconnect every other players and stuff like that. So how are we going to do that? We're going actually to start off on the game instance. Our game instance, we're going to go back to our event graph and we're going to create a new event, custom event, player disconnects. So that is going to need a new enter value. We need to say, hey, that's a controller. That will likely be an out-game controller. I gave up on the idea to make that kinda with a lot of modularity in that. I thought I gave up on the idea to be able to use that with other player controllers, but that doesn't really matter at that stage. So we want the quitter. That's the guy who leaves. We hate that guy. He leaves us in a 4v5, but that doesn't really matter because we're strong and we're going to never surrender. Oops, sorry, I lost myself in the way. So when that player disconnects, first thing we want to do is ask the game instance if that player is the host. Is it the host? So if it's not the host, what do we want to do? We want to call an event on the player that is disconnecting, and we want to call an event that is going to be run on client. So let's open up our player controller, our outgame player controller, and let's build up a new custom event in there. So we want a new custom event that says player leaves. So first thing we want to do is say run on client, and we want to say, do we want to say, is that a multiplayer game? If so, destroy my session. No, we're going to build a new custom event that says player destroy session. So that is going to be run on client as well. And we are going to say, when a player leaves, is it a multiplayer game? If so, get the host. If it's not the host, get the player leaving. And let's say we're going to destroy his session. So what is it going to do? Well, no, actually we're going to destroy his session right there. Destroy session like that. Like that. And if it's the host, well, actually if it's the host, we're going to try to destroy his session as well, just to see what it does for now. So when a player leaves, we're destroying his session. But how can we leave? Well, we are leaving when I'm opening up our HUD, our main menu, our outgame menu. A client is leaving when he's pressing the cancel button on the multiplayer lobby. So when that button is pressed, yep, that was that moment when I said we want to do something like that. Well, actually, no, we don't. So we want to get our owner, and we want to say player wants to leave. I'm back on our player controller. I renamed that event, and we want to call that event player wants to leave. Yep, I do. Leaving a multiplayer game. So I'm leaving a multiplayer game. I'm calling, what do I call there? I shall call an event on server that connects with the game instance. So server make player leave, that is going to be run on server, that is going to get the game instance, to tell her that player wanna quit, wanna leave. Oh, how did I call that? Player disconnects, player leaves, for the sake of the naming conventions. So leave, leaves, not the best of the conventions, but we're going to agree that is alright for what we're doing. So player wants to leave, server make player leave, multiplayer leave game, and for now we don't need that event. So we're going to try that out real quick. So this is not going to work for now. I know that is not, because we're not resetting variables. So I'm going to host a game, create, and I'm going to quit right away with that guy. I'm going to quit. And why? It is not doing anything. Well, basically because we might be quitting, we might be successfully quitting that multiplayer lobby, but we're not resetting the variable of multiplayer stuff and stuff like that. So if we want to be able to quit as the host, we need to reset the in-game instance variables, all the variables used for the multiplayer, because we are basically resetting the game state to a solo game state. So if we don't want the variables to be kept, we need to reset them. So let's do that real quick. So in the game instance, if the host leaves, we're going to print that failure on both sides for now. On success from the host, we're going to say it's not a multiplayer game anymore. We're going to say number of players ready. We're not using that anymore, so we can just delete that. We're going to clear all the array of players. We're going to clear all the net player lists. We're going to clear, what else are we going to clear? Well, that's all, I suppose. That's already enough. So if the host leaves, we're going to reset that. So let's try it out. Oh, there's a bug on the outgame player controller. What's that? Could not find variable named server test. Are we calling that? Oh, no, we're not. That was for testing purposes in the beginning of the tutorials. So let's hit play. Let's try to host a game. Let's try to cancel from that game, and that doesn't work. So I suppose let's try that with a client. So if I'm hosting a game, then a client is joining. So when a client joins, it will be able to leave the game, and that does nothing basically. So I believe we need to destroy the session on client. So basically what we're doing here, but it's not even saying failure. So maybe it's not even triggered actually. Maybe the game is not multiplayer, I don't know. So I'm just going, oh, maybe are we calling that? Are we calling something? Player wants to leave. Make player leave. Player leaves. Well, we're calling that. What doesn't work? We didn't see a print, did we? I'm not sure. Let's try to find out if we saw a print. Did we? Oh, that's going to be hard to find that print in there, so I'm just not going to. Alright. So I think we might should do that on the client controller, I believe. Previously created by the default online subsystem. So, well, we're going to add a print in the beginning of that. Then we're going to print something here on success of the client, success clients leave left, and let's just add another print here, success host left. Let's compile, save, play. We're going to host a game. Let's create that game. And let's leave that game. Success. What did we see there? So I'm going to reopen that output log. Developer tools, output logs. So where was that? Where was that print? Where were that print? Success host left, but nothing happened. So I remember I had trouble doing that, so I'm going to try the method I just talked to you about, kicking the clients on their own, running on clients here, on their own controllers. Client leave session. So that's going to say, hey, destroy session. And that's going to be that controller. That's going to be run on client. And we're going to say here, I'm sorry, on the game instance, we're going to say, hey, if the quitter is not the host, let's tell him to destroy session. Client leave session, I guess, yep. Client leave session, let's say that. And let's see what happens if the client leaves the session. Host multiplayer game, create. Let's browse online servers. Let's join that game we just found on the internet. And let's cancel that. So server hello, it says. So that triggers, that might trigger, but it's not returning anything. So I'm not quite sure. I'm going to try that with the host to see how it goes. We're going to reset the variable anyway. Maybe we need to open up a new level with the host like we did when we create a new session. So host multiplayer game, create game. Can he leave? Can he leave? It said success host left, but I didn't see anything, so I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Advanced session, end session, ends the current session. What does it do? Well, let's try it out. We're going to see anyway. Oh, maybe let's try to run that on server just to see what it does. Sorry. So I run on server the event we just created to kick the client from the session. So I'm creating a new game. I'm canceling. That doesn't do anything. Do we still see the game here? No, we are not. So that is successfully resetted. So we're going to try it out with the clients leaving the game. So there's a multiplayer game. We're going to browse these games. We're going to join. And we're going to try to leave that game, cancel. That does nothing. Alright. Well, I'm going to check that and to get back to you real soon. Alright guys, so I found out how to solve our problem. So that was actually quite simple. So we do have to create that client leave session on the player controller, and that is going to be run on client, executed on client. So and that is going to do one thing pretty simple. It's going to destroy the session on itself, and on success it's going to open up your outgame level without any options, without nothing. We don't expand that, so just your outgame level, so your main menu level. So you're going to open that, and on the game instance, we're going to, when a player leaves, we're going to say, is this multiplayer? Is the player leaving the host? If the player leaving is not the host, let's say the client leave the session. And if the player is the host, let's say the client leave the session. But we are also resetting that these variables because it's the host and we are not in a multiplayer game anymore. But we need to do one more thing. We need to re-roll the player entries when we do that. So after we kicked after we kick the clients, we're going to say reload player entries. I suppose it's going to work perfectly because one left, so we need to tell everyone that one left and re-roll that player entries. So we're going to try that out. Hit save, hit play. So we have our host. He can host a game. Other players can browse games, online games. One player can join the game. That one is going to join the game. Then the host is going to suddenly leave. Oh, it's going to kick all players in the multiplayer lobby. And I misclicked on browse online games, my bad. So that's going to kinda mess with my demonstration here, so I'm just going to quit because we are not canceling the search, and we should be canceling the search when we hit that cancel button. So I'm just going to continue here. So when the host leaves, it kicks every other player in the lobby. So if the host creates a lobby, he can leave that lobby, and he can create another one again. That's going to be called Yun lobby, I should have called that. So other players are going to browse online games, and that one is going to join, that one as well, and that one as well. So we got 4 players. That one is going to leave. He hits cancel. It's not properly resetting that thing. And that one is going to browse new servers and is going to rejoin the server once again. And whoop, we got our 4th player, and that should be working as expected. If that one leaves, everyone gets kicked. Yep. So we got a proper leaving system. We're going to have that errors that comes from the little player entry we didn't clear that was still in the player list. So we need to actually clear the player list before we actually reroll that. So I'm going to go on the game instance. We take all registered players, we say clear player entries. What that does, that says, hey, get everything like that and remove that. Well, the problem is that after that, yeah, we need to remove the player from the list of registered player. Obviously, that's what I forgot. So I'm going to get that player queue, and I'm going to remove an item from that. We're going to remove that quitter right away, and then we're going to make him leave the session. So I hope that is going to work, and we're going to recalculate if the lobby is ready, because maybe one guy left and he was not ready, and then everyone else is ready. So we need to take that into account. So I'm going to hit play to try that out. I'm going to host a game. I'm going to join with another player, and then another one, and another one. I'm going to join these games. Yep, like that. Players are coming into play. Blah blah blah. And one is going to leave. It's going to remove him from the list. That one also is also going to leave. But that is not refreshing that properly. So if I quit, it's going to give me an error that says, hey, one player is still in the queue, and I know why. Because we're removing it from the we're removing it from the player queue actually, so we want that. We want the registered player. We want to remove it from the registered player, but that might not do the trick. Well, yes, that should. That was the bug, I believe. So if we try that again, I'm going to host, they're going to join, the usual stuff, and that is going to be that one the first, the second. Whoop, misclick, I'm not that fast anymore. I'm getting older and older. No, that's not true, that's not true actually. So I'm going to live with him. Whoops, that sounds like it's working properly. It looks like it's clean, so we can find games again. If we don't properly destroy the session, players are not able to quit and join and quit and join and quit and join. They're going to be trouble doing that, so we need to be clean with that. So that one can leave, that's going to reset that. So I think that's clean actually. That one is ready, that one as well, and that one as well. I misclicked that one as well. You can start the game, but I'm just going to cancel and kick that lobby, and I'm going to quit that, and we have no errors. So that looks actually pretty neat. So one thing I want to do is try to shut down the search when we hit that cancel button. So that is going to be commented, so player leaves the game. So when we hit that cancel search button, we need to do something, I believe, to make it so it doesn't break anything. So if we hide that and show the main server box, when we hit that cancel button, what happens? We are just saying, hey, remove server entries and disable Throbber. So what else do we want to do? I guess what we want to do is telling that game instance that we're basically canceling the search, I suppose. So where do we search for? We search here. Is there something like cancel search? No, there is none. Well, actually, cancel find session. That's it. So we want to do something like custom event, cancel search session, and we want to make a bool. How are we going to do that? We're going to build a new variable, searching for sessions. That's going to be here. We're going to say, hey, we're searching for sessions. And here we are. And when we succeeded, we're not anymore searching for sessions. And even if we're not succeeding, even if we fail, we're not searching for sessions anymore. So we want to do that in order to avoid canceling a search that is not searching anymore. So when someone cancels the search session, we're gonna have a counselor. That's not an advisor, but something else. So that one is cancels the session. All right, and then what do we do? On success, we are doing nothing, and we are doing that only if searching for sessions equals true. And that should be it, guys, for that. So if that's true, we are canceling the find session. That should be fine. And then, so if the player spams search, cancel, search, cancel, search, cancel, nothing's going to break. So in the outgame menu, when we press that cancel button, we want to remove server entries. But we also want to call a new event on server that says server cancel search. that is an events run and server, and that says game instance get me and cancel the search. And we're going to say that one is canceling the search, delete server entries, and cancel search for sessions. So we are going to get that to pull that here. We're going to say, hey, when we cancel, we want the server to cancel the search. We're going to hit compile. We are not going to be able to test that. It's just going to, we are not going to be able to test that. That's all, I suppose. So that's going to wrap things up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.